And we are live for the first time. It's been 2 years. Well, it's been 2 years. One year. It doesn't matter.
Shoot, it's been
The
a
show
minute.
has been back. I think the last time we did this show, I had hair. I didn't have a mustache. It's been a while. It's been
We
a
changed.
while. Yeah, yeah. Hey, man. Like it's been a while. But one of the reasons, well, actually, it is the only reason why we haven't done Friday nights on the Bayou is because my butt was in North Carolina, where
I
I was
know.
covering the North Carolina Tar Heels. I was covering the North Carolina Tar Heels and covering it for on the side, first full time gig, yada yada yada. But what happened was simply it's just work overload at the time. It's old. There's old management and on the side. They had 8 articles a day. And I'm like, you know what? I don't think this is really working out. I don't want to do 8 articles a day. It's a lot.
That's a lot.
Jace can test that. And a lot of people told me, yeah, damn, that's a lot. That was always the reaction. But I'm back now. I'm back home. I've actually the reason why I haven't done anything on Ruger Sports Media is because I've been freelance a lot in New Orleans. So to kind of recap, doing stuff for not only for Crescent City, of course, I'll still be covering prep sports for Crescent City. I was doing that when I moved back in January, covering basketball, baseball. Now we're going into football season. But I'm also doing a lot of stuff with Mike Scarborough in terms of LSU coverage. I've been really enjoying that being back with Mike. Having a lot more responsibilities with Mike. I actually was on the post practice report last Thursday, which was my first public appearance of anything Tiger Bait. So that was really cool. And then, of course, 2 weeks ago, I got the job as as one of the contributing writers for the New Orleans Saints for on SI. Ironically, however, Doug Jobert is a great publisher, and when we went through the interview process, he said, "Hey, management changed. You don't have to do as many articles anymore. It's not full time like it was in North Carolina, but like basically, here's the thing. On the Saints site, we only required as a team to post 5 articles a day. I was
Yeah.
doing 8 a day.
Yeah.
So
Makes a
as
difference.
one person plus another person doing 4 a day. So completely different man. So I'm really excited to be back home covering, of course, LSU and now the Saints, but also my true love, high school football. Here with our boy Jace Lejeune. Sorry, I went on a long tangent. I had to explain why I haven't been here. Jace Lejeune, of course, if you guys are not familiar, if you guys are familiar with the show, you guys are very familiar with Jace, or anybody else who's watching the show who's been familiar with high school coverage around the state. Jace Lejeune is that guy. He's, of course, the lead content creator for Ground Football. I don't know if that was your role. Well, it was a role. It just had a different title.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's it's everything. So everything's shifts for Ground Football. Of course, they've got a lot of great things going on their end. Jace, the floor is yours, man. And also, he basically the format he used last year with interviewing players and coaches. I told him that was gonna be my idea. And then I got hired in North Carolina, which is so ironic. But I'm glad to be back. And Jace, man, 2026, man, man, this season, I think it's gonna be a good one. A lot of great talent, as always, in the state of Louisiana. A lot of coaches. But man, I'm just gonna let you go on your tangent because I'm done.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's been a minute. I think the last time that we were together, I believe it was on my show. I believe Ball in the Boot. We're going to be doing that a lot this year. We're going to have a bunch of shows, so we're looking forward to that once again. But yeah, it's going to be really fun. Just we have these shows. It means we're getting closer to football season, and high school football, like you mentioned, is your love. It's definitely my passion as well. Just being around it for such a long time, and especially the NFL and then college with the NIL now, like really the purest forms of football is still high school football. So it's still great to be a part of it and to cover it every single Friday night. It's been really fun. But yeah, Gridiron Football, we're doing a lot of big things right now. I'm going to first, I guess, like promote them at first. But Gridiron Football, we are actually right now, we have our Gridiron Football Bowl game at the end of the year. Right now, we're at 26 commits right now. And the season hasn't started yet. So we are way ahead of the game for that. and we're going to be posting a lot of those bowl game commitments on our website. And actually, if you go to our website, we actually did some updates to the website, and it looks really nice with all the updates that we've got going on. But on the All-American page, you can actually keep up with the rosters and see how many players are on each team right now. So if you're a senior that's trying to sign up, and let's say you're a quarterback, you could see how many quarterback spots are taken right now. So if you want to sign up, I mean, it's a really good way to keep track of it. We're also starting our Gridiron Football 1000. Is something that we're doing right now as well on our website. And since we're a 501c3 nonprofit, we're a nonprofit organization. So if you want us to continue to promote young athletes, and we just want a little donation. We're saying, $10, even $10 a month will go a long way to continue for us to do what we do. Obviously, it's covering all these great athletes, but at the same time, have a bowl game or camps, all these great events. We can go out and promote more high school athletes. So you go gridironfootballusa.com. You'll see join the 1,000. That's our goal right now, to have 1,000 donors. Just like $10 a month. I mean, it doesn't sound like it was too much, but it definitely means a lot for us. So if you can go and donate and spread the word, that'll be great. That's what we're looking for people to continue to support what we do here at Gridiron Football.
Yeah, 100%, Jace. I mean, yeah, I remember when we were fighting to get 26 guys, recruited to the bowl game. At least I think it was in October.
Yeah,
which shows you how much the bowl game has grown. And by the way, I know you guys were going through a location change, or is it still in Pineville this year, or is it you guys?
Yeah, so I think that's another reason why we've been so ahead of the game, because the last couple of years we're trying to find a spot, we're trying to find a stadium, trying to find hotels. We got all that covered right now. I mean, we're going to be at LCU again. We're going to be in Pineville. It's been a great relationship with LCU and Coach McLaughlin and really the city of not only Pineville, but Alexandria as well. So we're going to be back once again this year, and just knowing where we're going to be at, knowing where we're going to put the house, the players, knowing all of that has really made a huge difference. And right now, through our camps this off season, we had our media days. Already we've gotten 12% of the bowl game already committed to play and already ready to roll. So we're really excited about that, and expect a lot more announcements to come with as far as the guys that have committed to play in the bowl game. But in terms of the talent already, I can tell you already going into it, this is going to be by far the most talented bowl game we've ever had.
Yeah, 100%, Jace. I mean, that's awesome. It's great to hear. And of course, you guys can find all of Jace's content in Gridiron Football. They always do a great job. Of course, the bowl game information will be on the site as well. I'll also leave the link in the description so you guys can go check out their stuff. But of course, Jace represents Gridiron Football. I represent Crest City Sports. A lot of my prep coverage, of course, is in the New Orleans area. So this week I'm doing a lot of scrimmage reports and everything like that. But probably just a little podcast here and then. We might discuss scrimmage a little bit whenever the next time we shoot and everything. And of course, Jamborees are next week.
Right.
I know Jace will be at Bayou Jam all weekend. I'm thinking I'm going to on Saturday. Got to figure it all out, the logistics and everything like that. Of course, to apply for credentials. I'll probably be there Saturday because Friday I'll actually be in New Orleans.
Yeah.
Shaw and Brother Martin's having their jamboree. So at Shaw, the last few years has been doing the Ed Daniels Classic. That has, of course, been a huge jamboree deal in New Orleans. Of course, Ed Daniels was a mentor to me, a longtime sports director of WGNL. Couldn't miss it, of course. And also, Shaw and Brother Martin. That's a pretty good matchup. I think there's another game before it. I got to double check. But, of course, Shaw and Brother Martin, of course, Shaw's returning a lot of guys on their team. I think they're the favorite to win Division II Select. Of course, Brother Martin is kind of one of those sneaky teams. If they get hot at the right time, they can be very dangerous, especially with a guy like Eastern Royal.
Right.
So we're gonna have all the coverage for the scrimmages, jamborees, whatever me and Jace go to, and of course our regular season breakdowns. I know we're gonna do our weekly thing. We're gonna make our predictions. We might discuss a little bit what happened the week before. Friday night, the live show we used to do. No idea. I gotta talk to Andy. I gotta talk to Andy about that. But we'll figure that out. And of course, I'll let you guys know. Jace is doing their live show, so so that's a whole other story. We'll let you guys know if anything changes that front. But for today's show, let's get into it, Jace. I think enough of blubber blabber. That should create a word. I think I don't know, but today we're going to discuss all the non-select divisions. Of course, we're not going to. Usually, people go by 1A through 5A. And, of course, when it's playoff time, that doesn't really matter. It's Division 1, Division 1 select, Division 1 non-select, Division 2 non-select, Division 2 select, you name it. So today we're going to go over the non-select team division, of course, and then we're going to break. And so here's how we're going to do it. We're going to do, of course, our favorite to win it all. Just one team. We'll have potential contenders, so teams that we also think have a shot to win it. There may not be our favorite, but we expect them to be in the dome. Like they're one of the teams we wouldn't be shocked if they're in the dome. We have our potential contenders, guys who are probably just under the legit championship contenders, guys. Teams that, aren't under the radar, but you kind of expect them to make a push. Of course, our dark horses, teams that nobody's really thinking about at the time when it comes down to the playoffs, and you expect them to have a good run, or even during the regular season where they have a shock season or whatnot. So, Jace, let's go on your end. Jace, you sent me all your information.
Sure.
I got you stuck in the Gridiron Football office because I was trying to get draft picks. I apologize for that. However,
now some bad weather coming in now, so I think it's good that we're having this talk now. So bad weather coming over here. But
I'm gonna get this on here, get this logo on here on the screen. But Jace, man, just so let's see what we got here. Oh, here we go. Yeah, so Jace, explain to me what you got here for Division 4 non-select.
Okay, so we talk about, and I'm sure you want me to kind of run through all the things I have. So as far as a team to beat.
Oh wait, this is my picks.
Oh, this is your picks. Okay,
this is my picks. Yeah, hold on, let me remove this. Just go ahead.
So as far as the team to beat, I'm gonna go with Mangum, just because of what the run they had last year, and really this was a Mangum team that kind of surprised a lot of people in getting there. They were a young football team last year, and they were right there with Haynesville. I think it surprised a lot of people how close they were to winning that championship game last year, knowing that Haynesville was the favorite. Isaiah Washington was his senior year, the LSU commit at the time, and really Mangum, if they didn't turn the ball over 2 or 3 times in that game, Mangum would have won that game. They would defeat Haynesville in that football game. And the thing about Mangum, they returned Colby Casey back, their quarterback from last year. They returned a lot of great stud playmakers, skill guys on that football team as well. They got a little bit of depth there. So I'm going to go with Mangum being that team this year. Usually we said Haynesville, and that's why I got them as a championship favorite. The reason that I have Mangum over Haynesville, I think they return a lot more proven guys from last year. But we turn about championship favorites. You have to go with teams that have been in that category as far as teams that used to be there. You just kind of don't even have to look at what they return and who they return. You just say, hey, I mean, these are championship programs year in and year out. When you talk about Division 4, right? I mean, Haynesville, Oak Grove, South Plaquemines, these are all teams that have been proven to go and make those runs to the dome, win state championships. I can put Logansport in that mix too. I mean, as far as proven teams, we know year in, year out that they are going to be in there. They're going to be in that running, right, to go to the Superdome. So I kind of put them on championship favorites. As far as potential contenders, really a team that I really believe could really make a legit run to the Dome is North Iberville. I mean, in terms of skill talent in Division 4, there's not a lot of teams that are going to compete with North Iberville. I mean, Brajon Melanson, he's actually our first commit to play in the bowl game this year. He committed to Kansas State. You got Jeremy Favright, who's got a bunch of Division I offers at running back. And really, I mean, you had Brajon's younger brother, Aiden Melanson. You got some really good talented players. As far as skill talent, There's not going to be a lot of teams that can contend with North Iberville. The biggest thing for them is trying to shore up the line of scrimmage, and they have a new coach, Stephen Thomas, who won 5 state championships at Zachary. He's a great coach, great defensive coordinator, but this is his first head coaching job. So have to replace Coach Gass. That's going to be a question mark. But I think North Iberville is going to make a run. They were in the quarterfinals last year. I think they'll make a run. Faraday, they got a really talented roster. I mean, Robert Taylor, he's a UOL Raging Cajuns commit. But they got a lot of really good playmakers on Faraday's team. A lot of guys we know for gridiron football too. So as far as how they built it up. Mentioned Logansport before. We visited my Gridiron Football Media Day. They got 2 really standout defensive ends, Jaden and Jalen Perkins. They're both brothers, and they're both Division I guys. So you have Colin McGee as Coach McGee's son at quarterback. Caton Packett's a guy we invited to play in the bowl game. So Logansport, they're going to be in that semifinal, quarterfinal running. They've been in the state championship game before. General Trask, Coach Wells, huge respect for Coach Wells and what he's done for the programs. And I think they're a lot more experienced from last year. And, this is a team that's making runs too in the quarterfinals in the past. I think with a more experienced team, I think that's their shot. Dark horses, Elton. Elton's definitely a team that just think about a couple years ago, Grant. This is a team that was winless. I mean, they were 0-10 just a couple years ago. And now they are in a position that they can make a legit run at this. Their running back, one of the more underrated running backs in the state, McKeown Lemoyne. He's committed to McNeese State, and he's a bell cow. He was right up there as far as near the top in every rushing metric last year. They got a really talented linebacker as well that's been to our camps as well. David Simon, he's going to be the quarterback this year, and he's a physical runner too. So it's going to be tough. They're pretty deep at the running back position. So Elton is a team that is going to, I think, can make a really good run at it. East Feliciana being Division IV non-select. The thing for them is if they can overcome that hurdle, trying to get past that quarterfinal hurdle, I think they can be a team as talented as really anybody in this bracket. We talk about Ryan Moore, just a standout playmaker. I called a lot of his games at Episcopal. He can change a game anytime he's on the football field. On offense, defense, he can do it all. Marcus Cannon comes back as a 4-year starting at quarterback. So those are some teams I can make a run. You have your noble championship powerhouse programs like Haynesville, Oak Grove, Logansport. But you also got those teams like North Iberville, East Feliciana, Faraday that are talented, heavy as far as skilled talent. Can they put it all together? That's going to be the question for me. But going to the season, I'm going to have to go with the Mangum Dragons as far as my team to beat.
Yeah. Mangum's, I think, is an excellent pick. They were, like you said, they return a lot of people. Also, really intrigues me about this is Oak Grove. Coming back down to Division IV non-select, Jill Jace. I know you're very familiar with Oak Grove. Of course, in years past, Jackson Bradley was a quarterback, very much tied to the ground football brand. But tell me what's going to be going on with Oak Grove and why. And there might be some Oak Grove people who are like, hey, Jason, why aren't we the favorite? We dominated Division IV non-select.
Yeah, I kind of wrestled between the two, to be honest with you, between Mangum and Oak Grove. I'm going to go – the reason I went with Mangum is just because of a team that's been there just the year before. Now, Oak Grove, we know that they've been there almost year in, year out, but I just like a team that was like right there the previous year, that's bringing a lot of those pieces back. That was really I would say maybe 2 or 3 plays away from winning a state championship. I like those teams coming back. So even though Oak Grove, we've seen the success they've had in Division IV non-select, I do believe they're going to be right back in it next year. But I think for Mangum, this is definitely a team and a year for them that they really need to cash on this year. So that's why I'm going to go with them.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, great picks, Jace. I actually have some disagreements there, Jace. So we're going to dive right into it. So for my championship the team to beat, I have Oak Grove. I really like Oak Grove. I think there's a team that, was really successful at Division III non-select. I mean, they went to the. I mean, I wasn't here last year. I'm assuming they went to the semifinals, if I'm correct, or they go.
They actually called that game. I think they went to the quarterfinals and they lost to St. James. So that was a quarterfinal game. But we knew how the bracket was set up, that whoever won that game was going to be set up to go to the Dome for sure. But St. James, they were just too much that night for Oak Grove last year.
Yeah, and then somehow, some way, they will go up to Sterlington, and Sterlington whoops them. Which we'll talk about St. James Sterlington in a second. But I think I remember, we did the live show that night because that's when I think it was like the week before the state championships. That was like the week leading up to me coming back home, right? Because I came back home for Christmas and whatnot, and we were doing the live show. We're like, oh man, St. James, what happened there? Because it's just like, because that was a competitive game. Everyone was back from the year before, where they had a really good game in the James Championship, and for Sterlington to whoop St. James like that said a lot because St. James beat Oak Grove. But Oak Grove, of course, they returned one of the better backs in the state in Patrick Hill. I think when you have a really good back on a really good team, that could take you very, very far. We've seen that in the past with a team like Mandeville and Division I non-select, where Mandeville was a 5-5, 6-4 type football team, but they had a very special player, Nate Shepard, and Nate Shepard completely took over, and they went to the semifinals where they ultimately lost against Ruston, who won the state championship that year, who we'll also talk a little bit about. But, it's a good back can take you a long way. And whenever you see a team go on a Cinderella run, it's often because they have a really good back. I think with Oak Grove, their championship mentality, I mean, it's one of the most successful programs in our state's history, regardless of level. A lot of people up north can attest to that. So I have Oak Grove as my team to beat. Championship favorites, very similar to Jace's. However, I have Mangum in the championship favorite category, along with Haynesville, the two teams that were in the state championship last year. Of course, Haynesville is losing a good bit because they are graduating a senior class of they're graduating a lot of seniors that were heavy contributors from last year. A lot of those guys have been starting for them since their sophomore years. Mm-hmm. So it'll be very interesting to see how they replace a lot of them, including Isaiah. So, say Washington. So it'd be very interesting to see how Haynesville kind of, I don't say bounces back, but bounce back's not the right word, but how they kind of build up over time. It's kind of a slow rebuild and they get better as the season goes on, or they get off to a hot start. We'll see. Because, you don't want to, the championship hangover is a thing, right? Mm-hmm. But Haynesville has won a lot of them, but it's the first one they've won in a while. So that's what I'm saying, the championship hangover. And then, of course, Mangum, as you said, return a lot. They got their quarterback, bring back their quarterback. Very, very good team, very good program. I expect them to go far once again. And also South Plaquemines, a team that was in the Dome 2 years ago. I think this is a program that has been on a roll in the last couple of years. There's now a whole lot of New Orleans area representation in Division 4 non-select, because a lot of the schools in New Orleans are select schools because they're charter schools and the whole 9 yards. Basically, if you want to have a great explanation of what select and non-select is, every school in New Orleans, in Orleans Parish, which is New Orleans, and Jefferson Parish are all charter schools and private schools.
Yeah.
But if you're not in New Orleans Parish, Jefferson Parish, it's up in the air depending on what school you are. But South Plaquemines has been representing the New Orleans area quite well in Division 4 non-select. They won state championship 2 years ago, where they upset Haynesville. That was probably one of the bigger upsets of that year, Jace. I mean, believe you're on this. We were both in the sidelines for that one. I know sometimes you alternate between sideline and press box depending on if you're writing about the game. But that was I remember that being very shocking. And Live Feet has done a great job. Live Feet was a running back for South Plaquemines when they went to 3 state championship games in a row, won 2 of them, and he was responsible for 2 of those. So he's done a great job of resurrecting that program. Of course, North Football, as you mentioned, BJ Melanson, one of the best athletes in this state. Has been, he's probably been the guy, like probably I would say what's the word I'm looking for? I'm not the icon, but you know what I'm looking for.
Yeah, like he's been the face. He's really been the face of the program since it started. Right.
Yeah, because they just restarted the program. He's been the face. So it'd be very fun to see him in his last year at North Riverville, because I still think they'll be very good. As you said, Josh Gass is leaving to become the head coach of St. Paul's.
Yeah.
Stephen Thomas steps in, also a coach who comes from a championship pedigree at Zachary. So very excited to see what he does at North Riverville. Faraday is another team, a team that we are very familiar with because we saw the young guys come up. Of course, a lot of those guys were in the gridiron football game as middle schoolers. Of course, they have a junior high and a high school game. I don't think – did you mention that? I knew you –
Yeah. So, we have a junior high game, and we were talking about BJ being one of those guys that played in the first junior high game. But another standout that played in that first junior high game is Robert Taylor. And Robert Taylor's committed to the Raging Cajuns, and he's been kind of like that guy. We talk about BJ being that guy for North Iberville. He's really been that guy for Faraday. That's been kind of the face of everything, and why they've come back and contend for championships and be in this situation again to be like a potential contender, put them in the mix.
Yeah, definitely. And then, of course, I have General Trask. I don't have General Trask as my potential contender. I actually have him as my dark horse. I mean, there's not really any separation between potential contenders and dark horse, in my opinion. I think it could be any of those. But I think dark horse, like I said, is a team that a lot of people do not expect to go far, but they end up going far. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so that is it for Division 4 non-select. Jace, as I'm bringing up this image for your picks for Division 3 non-select, why don't you go ahead and talk a little bit about what you have for Division 3 non-select?
Yeah, we just talked about them actually in the previous segment. We're talking about Division 4 non-select, but St. James. We're talking about the St. James Wildcats. And really, I like teams that have that guy. They have that dude at quarterback. And St. James, they have that guy. Jawan Jackson. And it's crazy. He still has like another year, I believe, after this year. I mean, he's still only going to his junior year, but it seemed like he's been playing for 10 years. But, as far as the skill positions go, year in, year out, St. James, they're going to be there. I mean, as far as the top, they pretty much have the top skill talent every single year in terms of like that bracket. I know they have to replace some guys last year, Jacques Villanueva, but I think he has a younger brother on the team that he's been an electrifying playmaker too. So in terms of speed, skill set, the quarterback position, Coach Davis is a great coach. And when we talked about it when Sterlington and St. James were in that bracket together, that we expect those two to match up every single year, right? I mean, the last couple of years, we kind of had that expectation. They met in the state championship game 2 years ago. We talked about that semifinal game. Both went to Sterlington's way. But now with Sterlington moving up, I mean, it's theirs for the grab for St. James, for them to take Division 3 now. So it has to be St. James because of really the team that was in their way with Sterlington, and now they're gone. So I'm gonna have to go with St. James being the team to beat. Championship favorites. One of the biggest headlines this offseason was Coach Spatafore leaving Union Parish, and because the program he built at Union Parish, being that state championship team, that tough, physical, hard-nosed football team, year in, year out, and been to the Dome like every year. Coach Dimitri Carr steps in. I do have a lot of respect for Coach Carr. He was our Arcadia for a while and had some good teams over there. And I think steps in a really good situation. Coach Spatafore did not leave the cupboard bare when he left. There's still a lot of great talent. They're still big up front. They got a really deep running back room. Your quarterback returns. So I think it's going to be one of these years that, Coach Carr comes to the situation, and I think they got some really good guys as far as a senior-heavy team to lean on, kind of like a player-led team to kind of lead through this process. I like Gina. once again. Coach Rourke's another guy has really been one of the more underrated coaches in the state of Louisiana the last couple of years. What he's done. I mean, last year they finally broke through. Remember where I was talking about East Louisiana being that team that, like, man, can they break through that kind of quarterfinal hump? When Gina was finally able to do that, go to the Dome last year, I think that was a big sign of things to come. Daniel Hatcher is a player to keep your eye on at running back for Gina. Gina's always had really good running backs, and Daniel was at our camp at Neville and performed really well. He's actually Ahmad Sykes' cousin. They're their first cousins. Kind of crazy to think. But yeah, he's going to be the bell cow in that offense, and they're going to be really good once again to be right there. Jules Sumner, I believe they're making that transition too. I have to double check, but they made that leap, I believe, from select to non-select this year. Look at the LHSAA website. But offensive line-wise, they're still pretty stout up front on the offensive line. And they have a deep running back room. I think they're like 5 deep at running back this year. And that's after graduating 2 really studs at running back and their whole backfield from a year ago. And they got some really good running backs in that room. And they're going to be right there. I mean, they've gotten better and better each year at Jules Sumner. So Coach Career does a great job with that program, and they're going to be right on the doorstep. A player to watch out for Jennings, Chris Ned. Chris Ned's a guy that we've covered a lot. Went to our camps. He's got a couple of Division I interests. I think Louisiana Tech's offered him. But he's a quarterback for Jennings. And Jennings, I think, with the guys coming back, they were a younger team 2 years ago. And I think they won the Louisiana some close games. 2 of them, they could have really, I think, going to the regular season, I think they could have only had 1 loss. But yeah, they're a team that's going to be more experienced. They're going to have a lot coming back. And I like Chris Nett at quarterback to really lead the way for Jennings to make a run. Kaplan, I think they're going to be back to that old Kaplan Pirate football team we were used to seeing with Coach Lotif. Coach Bolera is coming over. He was at Catholic Point Capee and had success right there. But Kaplan won 7 games, and that was with a lot of coaching turmoil last year. So imagine their stability right there and see what they can do. So I think Kaplan is going to be a team that we see in the past with Coach Lotif, make those runs to the semifinals and make those runs. I think they're going to be in it. I have a couple teams to mention for Dark Horse. Marksville, Devin Lavalley is a very entertaining player to watch. If you go and watch Marksville play, the Tulane commit, he's a quarterback, and they're back. Remember, they lost to Mansfield in the playoffs last year. It was 62-60. It was like overtime when they lost to Mansfield. But I think in Marksville with a little bit more experience on the defense side of the football, their offense is going to score. We know that. If the defense can come and get a couple of stops, Marksville is definitely a team to keep an eye on. Manny, I think they're getting right. I think they're getting back into it. I know it's been a struggle since Jess Curtis left the program, but I think Coach Hassel's done a good job. I mean, last year they won 6 games. They won 6 games. They won a playoff game. They're building that confidence back at Manny. And when Manny gets that confidence rolling, you never know what's going to happen. They're tough to beat, and I think they're starting to get that positive momentum back on their football program. Back at Manny, Kinder. This is a team that was undefeated in the regular season last year. We talked about Kinder last year, and they returned their quarterback. Again, I like teams that return quarterbacks coming back. Isaiah Thomas comes back for him, and he's set all kinds of records over there at Kinder. He's back for his senior season. So I like Kinder maybe make an even farther run in the playoffs after an undefeated regular season. And Abbeville, I think it's a team that's going to immediately flip the switch. When you go and get Brent Endes to be your head football coach at Abbeville, you got a guy that LSU has offered. You've seen him at the elite camps, Corey Campbell. They're going to put him at quarterback this year, I believe, for Abbeville. I think this is a team that was on the losing end last year that I'm not sure they're going to make a run to the championship, but I think they're going to make a lot of noise and set themselves up for a really great year the following year. So that's definitely a team as far as a turnaround season goes. I can see Abbeville definitely making that turnaround this year.
Yeah, definitely, Jace. Definitely. I mean, I have a similar one to yours. I think it's slightly different. Maybe it's one less team on there. But I have to agree with you. My favorite to win this division will be St. James. I mean, St. James bring back a lot. There are, and the talk was that how many times would St. James and Sterlington see each other in the play, or not, let alone the playoffs, the dome, right? So
right.
I mean, so I think I think they've sorry, but this whole thing. Okay, here we go. Yeah, so so this is going on my screen. So yeah, but anyway, what I was gonna say was but St. James. I mean, the fact that you're returning a guy like Juwan Jackson, who by the way is his third-year starter, not as a senior, as a junior. He's been doing it since his freshman year, and then of course, they have one of the best coaches in the state. They do, and when you have a really good coach like him, you tend to go far. I mean, St. James. I expect the St. James Wildcats to go back to the Dome. I think they're going to win it, and I expect them. I don't know who that may be, who they're going to play in the Dome, but it could be either one of these teams. Let me pull up my graphic right here real quick so I can show you guys. Okay, that's not the one. Here you go. It is. Here it is right here. Bang. Nope, that's your picks. I thought that was mine.
Yeah, it's
but
mine.
anyway, it's very similar. But yeah, I agree with you. But yeah, it's very similar to mine. But Gina is a team that is all. I also expect to go back to the Dome. I mean, they rushed for 5,000 yards last year, something like that.
Yeah.
I remember the storyline was with Gina and Sterlington when they were in the Dome last year was, how many yards both teams combined for, because they both love to run the ball. It was almost like basketball, like you described the high school, like the Big 12 as basketball grass in the 2010s.
Right.
Imagine that, but with running the football.
Just running the ball.
Just running the ball and scoring a lot of points doing so. So that was Gina and Sterlington last year. Sterlington's not Division II select, but I expect Gina to be like that once again. I actually finally got it up now because I forgot to download it. Well, I don't know how I forgot to download, but it doesn't matter. Joel Sumner as a team that, of course, me and you have bragged about on the show plenty of times. They do lose a good bit, like Jamon Slicing Dyson. And to be honest with you, that Joel Sumner team was a team that I was ringing the doorbell for a very long time, the alarm bells for a very long time, that about a team that could make it to the Dome. Unfortunately, they were in Division III Select. So you go against some of the private schools that have way more resources, maybe even some more talent than Joel Sumner did. But Joel Sumner did have some talent. And Coach Curry has done a great job with that program. Of course, now you're in Division III non-select, so I think they have a shot to go farther. Probably back to the Dome. I think it wasn't like they couldn't complete in select, right? But it's just maybe a little bit easier because you don't have to play Calvary in the quarterfinals, right? Or a Dunham, or they think about all those teams in Division III, or St. Charles Catholic, right? They're back.
Right.
U High because they're back. You're going up against teams that are Union Parish, Regina, and those are great teams, but they're not like Calvary and U High where you got Gordon McKernan and Big Roll on your team. I'm joking. I'm joking. But it's just that's Joel Sumner. I think it'll be really interesting to see how they replace some of their key guys from last year. But I do expect them to go back. Union Parish, of course. They are going through a big coaching change with Coach Bradford leaving for another job. That he was the face of that program. He was the face. He's won 2 championships with the Farmers. Famously went to 5 straight state titles or 4 straight state titles, and he lost the first 3 before winning it in dramatic fashion. So it'd be very interesting to see how their new coach, kind of builds off of what he built. That's always a very difficult thing. And of course, you got to go to my potential contenders: Jennings, Kaplan, Kinder. Very similar. Jennings, of course, I think has a chance to make a push for a state title. Same thing with Kaplan, with Coach Latif back. Same thing with Kinder. I think, all three of those teams. When I see Kinder, it makes me think of barbecue because of Kinders, by the way.
Yeah, right.
But I think those three teams from the 3 through 7 can make a push for an appearance in the Dome. Of course, also Jennings is the alma mater of Travis. It's not Etienne.
Achan. Yeah,
I got it
right.
because the NFL, for some reason, the NFL was mispronouncing his name even in college, people were mispronouncing his name. So I'm glad he got that. But anyway, he's back home in the state of Louisiana, where he's playing for the Saints. Who dat? So
right. Yeah,
I want to bring it up as we're getting the bad news about Jordan Tyson having a hamstring issue, but he's not out for the season. Thank God. But anyway, dark horse. I agree with you with Abbeville, Marksville. Marksville has been a team that I know a lot of people at Sunlaw have been really high on, a team that could be a dark horse for years to come. And also Abbeville, I think, is a dark horse, even though they didn't really have the best of seasons. You bring a guy like Brett Indence. You have a very special talent in Jacoby Campbell, who's moving to quarterback this year. I think that's a very interesting team to watch moving forward. But yeah, man, we got Division III non-select wrapped up. But I think Coach Levante Davis will win his first state title at St. James after missing out the last 3 years. I think they were really close his first 2 years. By the way, when I mentioned that Union Parish went in a winning dramatic fashion, that team was St. James.
St. James, yeah.
Then they lost against Sterlington the last 2 years, including last year's game, which was. But I think this is a team that they expect to go to the Dome. I think that they'll wash away the sins of the last 2 years, and I think the Wildcats will bring a state title back home to Valtry, Louisiana. But Jace, Division II non-select. I've always said this about Division II non-select. This is the division of absolute chaos. You can sit here and say, this is my favorite, but you just don't know, and you never will.
Man.
The great Jim Moore.
That's right. A great Jim Moore there, the great quote there. We talked about, St. James, trying to overcome that hurdle that is Sterlington. Well, of course, it's logical for the team to beat has to be Sterlington. And I can't discredit what they did the last 2 years. I mean, you're back-to-back state champions, and you're trying to go for your third in a row. Until somebody beats you and throws you off the top of the mountain cliff, I mean, you're on top of the mountain. You're number one. So has to be Sterlington. But I think it makes this division what makes it unique. We talk about years before. This was always a wide open bracket, just like forget bang on anything because the number 20 seed could win the state championship. We've seen it. We've seen Cecilia do it. We've seen Opelousas do it. Where they just come out of nowhere and win the whole thing. But I think this is definitely one of the deepest brackets as far as teams are concerned. Like Sterlington is still the favorite. They're back-to-back state champs. Coach Doty's done an awesome job, one of the best coaches in the state, pound for pound. They return a great backfield back. J. Rob Breen comes back at quarterback. TJ Birch, Xavier Strohmile, all of them come back in the backfield. But they're going to have some competition, though. Neville, that's another team that was Division I, then moved back to Division II. When Neville was rolling, you remember those years, and you remember those years, and the car and Neville. It seemed like that was like the state championship game every single year. Now they go back to Division II, where they were so dominant. And I think that's going to really help them. They're going to be right back in it. And they've had great regular seasons. They just couldn't really contend in the playoffs and make long runs in the playoffs in Division I. So now in Division II, I think it's going to really help them get back in that championship contention. Iowa, you have two defending state champs in this bracket. Iowa won state championship in this bracket last year in Division II non-select, and they return a lot of key pieces. They return a quarterback back. They return Kason Lewis, the Texas Tech commit. He's back with the football team. Kason Foxhall, he went to our camp at St. Louis, did really well. One of the guys invited to the bowl game. Their defense comes back. So Iowa is going to be they're going to show they're not a flash in the pan. They're going to be back, and they're going to be a serious contender. Plaquemine, Plaquemines have been right there in Division II for so many years. They've been, flirting around the dome, but they just haven't they haven't crossed that hurdle, and that's something they're going to have to do. But they have the talent. As far as upside goes, they have the talent just like anybody else. Brennan Miles comes back at quarterback. Spencer Collins, he comes back at running back. Those are two standouts from our camps this year. So that they're going to be back for Plaquemine. North DeSoto, everybody's talking about Luke Delafield and how they have to replace him, and he graduates. They also have Dennis Dunn back as their head coach, and he's one of the best in the entire state. And you notice they Mason Smith, the quarterback coming in, and he's been getting some. I think he got an offer by LSU, or he's got at least. He got an offer by LSU. So we've seen
him too,
do it, and lead the team North DeSoto to a state championship his freshman year. So it's not out of the ordinary if Mason Smith can do the same thing in North DeSoto. So they're going to be in the run. They're going to score a lot of points this year. We know that for a fact. In terms of potential contenders, team that's going to score a lot of points. You saw them in the spring, Cecilia. And Cecilia is going to score some points this year. Braylon Calais, we know about the LSU commit and what he can do at running back, receiver. I mean, he's projected to play at receiver at LSU, but he can just line up all over the football field for Cecilia. Remember Ellis Stewart, who was our MVP of the bowl game a couple years ago. His brother, Ashton Ruffin, he's got a lot of Division I traction. He's a big 6'4" target, and he's been dominant in our off season as well at our camps. So they got plenty of weapons on offense. It's going to be really the question is the defense and how many stops they can have to really help their team. I'll need a couple stops because there's not going to be a lot of teams slowing that offense down. Letcher, Dwayne Jenkins, you can't count out the Bulldogs. They're going to be contention as well. And they got some really good players coming back. Jamilon Joseph's a really good running back. For Ashton Stark, they bring him back too. So Letcher's going to be right there in the thick of it. Westgate, in terms of talent, just skilled talent, we know what they can provide defensively. They're as good of a defense in this bracket. I mean, Chance Archangle, the Texas A&M commit, they have him on defense. A really good running game. I think a running game, a defense that can carry them far in the playoffs. Dark horse, everybody's kind of riding off Franklinton because they have to replace Jacob Crane at quarterback. But I tell you something, and I told you about this guy in spring, but Kirsten Didon, they're not going to lose a step. This kid can play. He comes in as a transfer from Bowling Green. He's actually one of our guys that's already committed to play in our bowl game at quarterback. So it looks like we have one Franklinton quarterback. We're going to have another one. But he's got a lot of great receivers to throw to. Jaden Burkhalter comes back. They're another team that has a lot of great skill talent in terms of the wide receiver room. There's not a lot of wide receiver rooms that you pick over this one. So they're going to have a balanced offensive attack. I think the defense is going to be a lot more improved. I think Franklinton might be better this year than they were last year. And that's even replacing a program grade like Jacob Crane. Opelousas, I think Coach Coleman, he took the job late last year. But late in the season, that team got a whole lot better over the course of the end of the last season. And remember, this senior class, they were all part of that state championship at Opelousas a couple years ago. So they're all freshmen, but 5 or 6 of them started and played key roles for that team when I won the state championship. And those guys coming back, I think a full off season. Coach Coleman is going to help this team this year. And one more team, we'll go with Leesville, Antrell Broom. Another guy has really stood out at our camps this year. 3-year starter at quarterback, and everything runs through him. Leesville has a lot of talented guys. Julius Brown's a guy to keep an eye on. He had over 100 tackles last year on defense. He had over 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns on offense. He got offered by Memphis, so he's a special playmaker. But they got some talent there at Leesville. And they're going to be able to throw the football a little bit over there this year. So they're going to make some noise too. But in terms of depth, they'll make some noise. I'll give you one more here, 2 more actually that I forgot about. But you have to have Franklin Parish right there too. So Franklin Parish is going to be a contender and a team that we talked about. Abbeville, kind of like a team that kind of comes out of nowhere and makes the surprises this year. one team that I think can do that and just come out of nowhere and really surprise some people is Livonia. And the reason why I say Livonia is the receiver talent is up there. You got some CJ Aguilar comes back, a couple D1 offers, Bo Stewart. He's got Division I offers. And CJ's younger brother, he's a quarterback. But in terms of skill guys, Livonia had a bunch of guys that went to her camps and just dominated from Livonia. So I think they're going to make one of those teams that can make a run this year and really surprise a lot of people. But in terms of depth, Grant, you can probably rattle off 12 or 13 teams in this bracket that probably would not shock me that make a run.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt about it. I mean, like it's anybody's game when it comes to this division. It always has been. Last year was a weird one because it was a 1 versus 2 matchup, and we're so used to seeing like a team like Northwest make a run, a team like Blues is a silly make runs as double-digit seeds, or I mean, there's a whole lot of chaos. When it comes to playoffs, Division II non-select, and I think that you might see that this year. But as you said, I think that's very well said. I think but I will say this. Once again, I disagree with you when it comes to the team to beat. I think it's Neville. I think this is a team that has competed at the 5A level for the last couple of years. This is a program that has been knocking on the door to not only get to a state championship, but to win a state championship, but try to get to the state championship. You don't have to run into Central. You don't have to run into Central.
Right.
Yeah, you don't have to run into. Yeah, I know. There's a lot of lore behind that one.
Oh yeah.
But you don't, and you don't have to see Washita. You have to see a team that was a dark horse. Washita was the ultimate dark horse. You have to see them again because they always give Neville fits even the regular season. It's so you don't have to deal with a lot of the state powers. I think Division I non-select is very, very tough. But once again, Division II non-select is also very tough. However, Neville seem better teams than a lot of these Division II non-select, and they beat them. And you're a program like Neville, you're expected to go to state championships.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
This is Neville we're talking about, and everyone knows that. Mike Collins has done a great job bringing them to the making them, keeping that thing going after, you had your head coach kind of abruptly resign for a lot of the stuff I don't want to get into because we're talking that's legal matters.
Yeah.
But I think everyone kind of know if you haven't been following high school athletics, if you've been following high school athletics or you live in the Monroe area, you kind of know what I'm talking about. But this is a team that has been knocking on the door. I think you're bringing back your quarterback who's been starting for you the last
Parker
few
Robinson.
years.
Yep.
Parker Robinson is a great quarterback. I mean, you have the talent. Now it's up to you to kind of determine, all right, we're going to win the state championship. We're going to finally bring back a state title for the first time since 2015. It's been that long, which is kind of unusual for a program like Neville, right? Probably one of the more successful programs in the state's history, a team that, you kind of expect to go to the state championship every single year, right? Alongside West Monroe, Neville, those big three ruled the state. And so you're kind of waiting on Neville to finally bring back a state title. I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted by my cat who thinks he's a tiger because we mentioned the Neville Tigers. But going back to state championship favorites, Iowa, of course, I think Iowa would have been my team to beat. But they lose a lot of production offense. They do return the quarterback.
Yeah.
You have Caston Lewis, but I think they prefer Caston Lewis to be on defense.
Yeah.
They do return a lot of guys on defense, but offense is kind of worried about because they only return the quarterback and Caston Lewis. They lose a guy like Jeremiah Bushnell, who's going up to Houston, a guy who was a dynamic weapon for them in so many different ways. You got to put on Plaquemine. Plaquemine has been knocking on the door for the last few years. I know you're very, very proud of that, Jace, as a Plaquemine native yourself.
Oh, yeah.
You did not go to Plaquemine. You went to Catholic High.
Catholic High. Yeah.
Yeah, but you got to represent.
That was on the staff for those great teams, though. under Coach Stefano. So, yep.
And
it's a
then
little personal.
Yeah, it's a little personal. It's Sterlington. Sterlington is a team that Jay says is the team to beat. I think they'll make a lot of damage in Division 2 non-select. I think they'll do great Division 2 non-select. I'm very excited to see what the Pandas do moving up a level. And then you have to mention Westgate. I think Westgate is one of the more talented teams in the state. I mean, you can make a case they could be the team to beat.
Yeah,
Aiden Lancelin. You have Karan Eugene transferring to Westgate. Chase Archangel. I mean, it's just a very loaded team. So it'd be very interesting to see what they do. Now they have all the talent. I think they have the talent to finally push out to the next level. And so I think those are my championship favorites, potential contenders. I think we both agree on Cecilia. I saw them in person. Braylon Calay's back. They're very, very excited about their offense over there at Cecilia. Now, can they stop people? That will be the question. Because Cecilia. But speaking of basketball on grass, they play basketball on grass. They're going. They want to outscore you. Like they will make a fierce thing. They have playmakers of defense, but that's not what they don't play defense. Like they're gonna make the big stop every once in a while, right?
But and then that stopper too. Yeah, and just they'll outscore you. I mean, there's not gonna be a lot of teams that are going to outscore them pound for pound. Yeah.
Yeah. Usually the teams that beat Cecilia are the teams that have high offensive octane, like a Franklinton in the years past, or Opelousas. Really, Opelousas is really the only one that kind of slowed them down, which is very interesting. Yeah, but and then of course North DeSoto. Usually they would be if you're speaking the last few years, they would be my championship favorites, but you lose a lot. I think they're my potential contenders. So it'd be very interesting to see what the Griffins do, especially with the freshman quarterback. We've seen it before with them having a freshman quarterback and doing well. And well is an understatement because they went to the Dome with the freshman quarterback. But I'm really interested to see what Mason Smith does. He's a very good kid, very mature kid. I was able to speak with him because I did an article on Aggravate. He is the heir apparent to Pops Houston.
Very talented. Very talented.
By the way, Pop's dad does train Mason, by the way. So they're brother. They're kind of in a sense, kind of brothers in a way.
Right.
They kind of grew up together. But then of course Dark Horse, Franklinton. I think they have a chance to be a dark horse, especially with a coach like Nick Saltaformaggio, who is the king of coaching dark horses.
Oh yeah.
Between East Chef and Hanville a few years ago with Puka. And then, of course, Leesville, I think they have a lot coming back too with Antrell Broom, as you said. So it'll be very interesting to see what the Wampus Cats, by the way, one of the best state games in high school sports
for sure.
in Louisiana.
For sure.
So I think they have a chance to make a run as well. Finally, Jace, we're on to Division 1 now.
That's right.
Done. I said it would take an hour. We're but close. We're very close to ending this show. But Jace, before we get into Division 1 non-select, is there anything that we probably missed before? Anything that we probably want to mention before we get into Division 1 non-select? Because I feel like we always forget something.
Oh, it's just the nature of it. I mean, you're going to. There's going to be somebody who's going to watch. It's like, hey, y'all didn't mention this team. Y'all forgot to mention it. Well, if we're going to talk about every team, we're going to be here for a while. We're going to be for a long time. So it's just on top of our head. Like I mentioned the last segment. Franklin Parish. Franklin Parish has arguably the best running back room. You can make a argument for best running back room in the state with Trey Martin leading the way, and they've got the talent to make a run at this. So if there was another team, I feel like I left off the list. I mean that'll be a team in Division 2, but that just comes to show you Division 2 how deep it is and how fun. I'm really excited to see what that bracket is going to be at the end of the year when we talk about that bracket, because there's going to be a lot of teams that can go and make some runs. But yeah, I mean, it's just the nature of it. There's going to be some teams that are going to make some runs that we haven't even talked about. Not only non-select we talk about, but select as well. But that's why we don't play the games on paper. We got to go out there and play on Friday night. So we'll find out on Thursday and Friday nights what this is all going to look like.
Yeah, Jace. Speaking of craziness, I think there's a very crazy division. I think it's not really as crazy as Division 2 non-select, but you can expect a whole lot. You just don't know because there's so many good teams in Division 1 non-select. There's always a team that kind of goes on the Cinderella run in Division 1 non-select, but there's also kind of your mainstays in Division 1 non-select. And I think we both agree that Ruston is the team to beat. And despite losing the last 2 years of the state championship, they just got so much talent, Jace. So much talent.
Yeah, and that's really the only question they can ask is when they get to the dome. Like, as far as how they can overcome everything in the dome and play better in the dome. That's just basically it. But in terms of if you're making a ranking of like the top teams, if you make like let's say the preseason poll came out today in college football. If you make a preseason poll for Louisiana high school football, usually we have Edna Carr on the top of this list, and we'll go more and select later on. But I would probably pick Ruston this year. I mean, in terms of being that number one team, just going in, because you return your quarterback, Sam Hartwell, very, very talented quarterback. You may return, and you can make an argument, the best player in the entire state, in Ahmad Hudson. You return him back as a mismatch. There's not going to be, I don't know, any defensive back or linebacker that's going to be able to cover a guy like Ahmad Hudson. Dalen Powell comes back at running back as well. We know the defense is going to be legit. There's not going to be a lot of weaknesses when we talk about Ruston. Really, the end of the day is just if they get to the Superdome, the question, I mean, they've underperformed. And I'm sure Coach Ball would tell you the same thing. I'm sure he would tell you the same thing the last couple of years, that they've underperformed in the state championship game. But if they get there, it's just about playing that game better. That's really the only question that they can. But as far as the team itself, they should be right there again to be in the dome. I'll be very shocked if they don't make the dome next year. Just when they return back and all the guys, they come back to lead that football team. And then
it's the curse of the black cat, man.
I know.
I guess
right.
Maggie's coming here to bring back the bad luck. So.
Yeah. Speaking of the teams that made Ruston look very pedestrian, Central a couple of years ago, and that was when Central shocked everybody. Not only won that game, but won that game early. It was probably mid-first quarter, and we realized this game's over between Central and Ruston. But Central's going to be right there again. They get Max Gassett, he comes back at quarterback. Tristan Rose at running back. Marvin Jones is a great two-way player for them. And Coach Semino, and what he's done. I mean, in terms of coaching, you have Coach Semino, and then you look at Coach Brew at Zachary. What he's been able to do, all the 5 state championships he's won, and able to lead the Broncos. You have to have Zachary in the mix no matter what they look like. They're just one of those teams year in, year out. They're going to have to be in that mix. And I think they're going to be back to trying to get back to where they were when they were a powerhouse program. They got 2 good 1-2 punch in the backfield as well. Tyler Lewis, Jeremy Patton. Jeremy Patton went to one of her camps this year. They got a new quarterback this year, Jakari Platt. I think he was actually a transfer from Central, so he's going to be taking over the quarterback job at Zachary. And Calvin Duncan's a guy to keep an eye on as far as a lineman. That really stood out to us over the years. But Zachary's going to be right there. And Coach Brewerton knows how to win late in the year. The Broncos going to be playing their best football when it comes to November and December time. And you know that. Dash your hand. Malachi Dabney comes back at running back, and you know a lot about Desherhan Grant. You covered him a whole lot. It's going to look a little different, I think, this year. They have a new quarterback this year, Alshai Smith. I know he's been to our camps before. We've seen him before. But I think it's going to look a little different. They're going to rely a whole lot on Malachi Dabney. They're going to rely on the defense. I think their defense is going to be really good this year too. And then I think the young quarterback grows up as the season progresses. I think Deschamps can be another dangerous team when we get late in the season. I think this is the year for Southside too. Southside can be. I think this could be the year where they make that next jump under Jess Curtis, and they've been having really good teams, but they return a lot back. They do return a lot back from last year, so I do expect Southside to kind of take that next jump and really contend. I have huge respect for Coach Dizer at West Monroe, and I think they did lose some guys last year. But I think the defense is going to play really well at the start of the year. They turn more experienced guys more on defense than on offense, but I think the offense will catch on as the season progresses. And then finally, we talk about just dark horse guys. Ouachita is the defending state champs. Now they have to replace a whole lot from that senior group that was a special senior group. Last year, they got a new coach coming in. Even though he was the offensive coordinator at Ouachita last year, he's a new role. He's still a new head football coach, and they have to replace a whole lot from last year to do it. So, but they all those guys been there. They were on that run. They're a part of that run. So I can't discredit Ouachita, even though they have to replace a lot. They are still the defending champs. I have to put them on there. Hahnville, Grant, you've covered Hahnville a lot too. I think this is another team. They got a really talented quarterback, Land Teague, Fabian Celestine. You get your backfield back. That makes a whole lot of difference in high school football. And I think there's a deep receiver room. Their defense is good. Like Hahnville on paper is going to make a really big jump this year. I really believe that. East Ascension is one of those teams that they have one of the biggest coaching, staffs in Louisiana high school football. The talent's there. They got two receivers I went to our camps, and Jeremiah Merriweather, Jaden Urson. They've both been offered to play in our bowl game. They're a really good 1-2 punch at receiver, and they're going to make some plays for whoever's a quarterback. And they got a big offensive line. You know about East Ascension. They have a big O-line still. They had to replace Bryson Martinez, but they're still big up front. As far as Jimmy's and Joe's are concerned, they're going to have the guys. And I think that now with Coach Mathern, you have a Coach Aponche over there and Coach Skanes over there with this big coaching staff. I think they can actually make some noise at East Ascension. So it's all about bringing that together. And they can, man. East Ascension can make a run. So these are just some teams there. But, Ruston, you kind of had those tiers, right? Ruston is the favorite. Central, Zachary, they've been pedestrian proven teams. And I think you have a lot of those teams like Southside, East Ascension, West Monroe, Hahnville that are prime, that it's set up for them to make that jump.
Yeah, 100%. I'm glad you mentioned East Ascension. I got a little chunk of all that. Simply because, you got one coach who was a state championship winning coach, Dennis Gaines. By the way, like 2 years ago, by the way. It was it's not like some coach who won it like 10, 15 years ago. No, he won it 2 years ago and left Cecilia, which is a good job to become assistant on Coach Mathern's staff. And, of course, you got Coach Sharpenshay, who was the head coach at Turlands Catholic for a pretty long time. Of course, his dad was a long-time head coach at Turlands Catholic. So to leave Turlands Catholic to become the OC at EA is pretty remarkable. And that shows you kind of like the staff they have. I mean, if you have that staff, you have a chance to win a whole lot of football games. But going to my picks, same thing with Ruston. I just think Ruston's really talented. You got a quarterback who's a legit D1 quarterback. You got a running back who's one of the top junior running backs in the country. You got a tight end who is a 5-star in both football and basketball, and Ahmad Hudson, Dalen Powell running back. He's out. Both those guys came recruited by LSU. One of them actually is committed to LSU. Ahmad Hudson. Then you go on the defensive side, Jaden Andy, the little brother Aiden Andy. He's also an LSU committed safety. Yep. And, of course, they also added a linebacker from the state of Mississippi. His name is escaping me right now. I actually was texting him the other day. Blah, blah. But Shamar Evans, that's his name.
Yeah, that's
make
right.
sure I get because there's so many, but like this, I get slipped at the time. I was about to say something else for another player for a whole other team, so I had to make sure. Okay, what's his last name? Yeah, it was Shamar Evans is a guy transferring from Mississippi. He's one of the top linebackers in the country. I believe he's a top 10 linebacker in the country. And so they're just so talented and so good. And
they don't have any weaknesses.
They don't. I mean, and the thing is too, that's what makes it shocking. Well, last year I knew they were going to. I mean, you knew that game was going to be close because Ruston and Washita, those games have always been close. But they district, yeah. But like the year before, where remember they were beating all kinds of teams in the state of Texas. Yeah, they had a hiccup against Neville, and they had a hiccup against Alexandria. I mean, and Alexandria was probably by far the second best team in the state that year. Don't let that 52-6 game fool you.
Nobody was being that card team. I can tell you that. Nobody
would have beat Carl last year's. No. But and that team, remember that going to that game, we're like, oh shit, like we're like, if there's gonna be a game that's gonna be a stinker, it's gonna be Ruston and Central because everyone thought Ruston was gonna dog walk Central, right?
Nope,
we had a feeling like we all thought it could happen with Carr and Alexandria because that was that Carr has been doing all year, despite the talent that Alexandria had. Dude, not only were we right that it was a stinker, it was the team we least expected was Central.
Yeah, it was Central.
Jackson Furman played the best game of the year. Remember, he struggled throughout the year. He was struggling. And he played the game of his life. The second or third play of the game was like a 70-yard ball.
Oh yeah.
And then Russell gets the ball back, and then the quarterback Josh Brantley fumbles it. Yeah, and they returned it back for a touchdown. I mean, and that was it. And I remember sitting next to Joe. I'm like, Joe, like it was like 21-0, 20-0, or whatever. I was like, it was
first quarter.
It was 21-0. And it's like I told Joe, it's like Joe. Of course, Joe. You know Joe, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so sure. I was talking. Yeah, I was like, text. I was talking to Joe. I was like, Joe, like this game's over. He's like, no, it can't be over. I mean, Russell can come back. It's like, Joe, Russell, the team itself, the way they play is not built.
They're not built for that.
They're not built to come back for 21-0. They like to play slow. They like to pound the ball. That's Coach Ball's game. And I mean, it's just so when you talk about underperformance, like Ruston, I wouldn't say last year they underperformed. The year before they underperformed. That was a team that may have been better than last year's team. But it's just how it is. I mean, I think with all the experience that they have, I think they have a chance to win it. I think they really do. I think they want to wash away the sins of the last 2 years. I really do. I think Russell's the team to beat. Championship favorites, Central. So, they do lose a good bit. But they also had a lot of young talent the last 2 years.
They do.
And all of them are juniors and seniors now. Mason Moore, cornerback. Of course, you got Max Gassiot, a quarterback who played a good bit for Alexandria during their state championship run. State championship appearance run 2 years ago. He left because he wanted to be the sole guy. And then you go to Zachary. Zachary, of course, you kind of always expect to be a contender with Coach Brew there still. And then I think West Monroe, I'm switching to the favorites. I think the last 2 years, they've been kind of a team that's been under the radar. Really, they've kind of fallen on, I wouldn't say hard times, but to their standards, hard times. And I got a little dog barking and everything. I got it. Yes. Thanks, Mom. So blind and deaf dog, by the way. He's 15 years old, still kicking it. Shout out Brian. But anyway, he had to go to the bathroom. That's just so. West Monroe is a team that I think they're back to what I won't say they're back to what they were, but I think West Monroe I think they have a vision, right? I think the last they've had 3 coaches in the last 4 or 5 years. I mean, West Monroe literally had 2 coaches for a 30 to 40 year span. Right. So it's just shocking how far I mean, they've fallen off, from the Shows and Arledge era of West Monroe football. And so I think that they finally now have a vision. Coach Deiser's done a great job.
They got the right guy now, the coach.
Yeah, and which is kind of surprising because just the thing about Coach Deiser, he was a strength and conditioning coach. He wasn't like some OC or DC. He was a strength and conditioning coach. So I think really with him, he's just playing more of a CEO type of role because strength and conditioning coaches, they see the guys a lot more than a lot of the coaches do. So he knows the players. He knows how to attack them. Not attack them, but go saying like their approach to them, to coach them up, to like know how to deal with emotions, right? And I think that's where you see. I think West Monroe had a surprise season last year. A lot of people didn't expect them to be as good as they were. I know that the record doesn't indicate that, but they beat Catholic.
They did. Yep.
They beat Catholic. And a lot of people. I remember, like I was in North Carolina. I think you had texted me or like you had called me, whatever. Like, hey, West Monroe just beat Catholic.
Yeah.
And that shocked a lot of people around the state. Which is saying a lot how far West Monroe's fallen, because you wouldn't have said that 10 years ago.
No.
So I think West Monroe's back. I think they got a lot of talent. RJ West, a freshman running back. Watch out for him. They bring back the quarterback. I think they lose some decent pieces here and there, but I think they got a lot of guys. They have a lot of guys coming back. I expect them to improve off of last year, and now that Neville's kind of out the picture, all they got to do is worry about Alexandria and Ruston. I do think they have the talent. Yeah. I won't say they just have the talent like Ruston has, but I think they'll give Ruston a lot of problems, and I think they'll give Ash a lot of problems, and Ash is returning a lot. We'll talk about them in the next show because they're actually select, which is kind of pretty crazy. But there's a whole lot of reasons because they're a charter school, basically, open enrollment school. So that's why they're select. Potential contenders. I've been reading the alarm bells about Southside for a very long time. Southside, I think that they're bringing back a lot of good pieces. Of course, they have one of the best coaches in the state. They finally have a stadium now. Very excited to see how that program does this year. I think a lot of people expect it to be good, and we'll see how good they truly are when Brother Martin goes over to Lafayette to go play them. We're not Lafayette, but Youngsville.
They good test.
That'll be really good to see how good they really are, especially now they're trying to make a push. Destrehan having potential contenders as well. They look kind of shaky when I saw them in the spring game, but I think they'll look better over time. Destrehan's always been the team that gets better as the season goes along.
They do. Yeah.
And Alshai Smith, and you mentioned him a little earlier. He actually has started games before for Destrehan. He was a starting quarterback for as a freshman for the first 4 or 5 games of the year.
Right, that's right.
Fields got injured.
That's right.
So he has that experience, and I know. I think he'll be a very good piece for Destrehan along with Malachi Dabney. But they do, like you said, they lose Jackson Fields. Yeah. It's hard to replace Jabari Mack. So they have a lot of pieces. They got so it's hard to lose those 2 players, but I still think they got the talent to make a push. Barb, somebody
they can score like Cecilia. they're going to score some points.
And Barb made a quarterfinal appearance last year. They made a quarterfinal Cinderella quarterfinal run. They bring back a lot of those guys from last year.
Landon
they
Gray.
Beat West Monroe.
Yeah,
they beat West Monroe in the second round. Upset West Monroe in the second round. So they bring back a lot of people.
Yeah,
and they go in the dark horse. Hardly, Washita loses a lot. The head coach is gone. Bring back a new coach, but Washita is the state champion. You got to respect them.
Yeah.
You gotta respect them. Hahnville, I'm gonna put as the dark horse category as well. I think Hahnville I think Hahnville. You can make a case they're a potential contender too. I think I'll probably put maybe more the potential contender, but I think a lot of people have been sleeping on Hahnville. I think everyone in New Orleans area knows how good Hahnville could be. I think the rest of the state is kind of weak because Hahnville, like West Monroe, has also fallen kind of hard times. Maybe even harder than West Monroe because they missed the playoff before Coach Bourne got there in 24. Yeah. They missed the playoffs the last few years. Hahnville, I think they're back to being what they were. I think, and watch out for the Tigers. They got a tough schedule. I mean, they got to play Shaw, Edie White, Fletcher, and I think St. Charles.
And they play in a tough district, so that's all before district play.
Yeah.
So that's non-district.
Yeah, and the district is, I mean, terrible. I mean, you get Terrebonne.
Yep.
I mean,
that's your hand.
That's your hand. I mean, also Thibodeau.
Yep.
Coach Lowell Nocease has done a great job. By the way, our age. So if you want to know
crazy. That is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, man. And then, but then of course EA, as mentioned, they always have talent. It's about putting it together. That's been kind of their MO, for a very, very long time. I think that everyone, you can attest to that. Jace, this guy who is primarily based out of Baton Rouge. I think a lot of people around the state could attest to that. I think Coach Bethurk is probably the coach to kind of turn that around over there.
Yeah.
Also, but you did not mention this team. And I want to mention
addition. Yep.
Mandeville. They have a sophomore quarterback coming back, Crew Kalura. Dylan Henry is one of the best athletes not only in the state but the country. So it'll be very good. I think it'll be a very, very good team. They have a coach who has led his program to a state championship before. I think that's just a team that everyone needs to watch out for. The Skippers made a Cinderella run a couple years ago. I think if they go on a run, I don't think it's by mistake. It's not a fluke. I think they're just that damn good. I expect the Skippers to do a lot of big things this year. Craig Jones is off his guy. I mean, remember, he did a lot for Lakeshore, kind of helped build that program to a respectable 4A program. Mm-hmm. So, and he's good, and he's doing the same thing with Mandeville. They've also put a lot of money into their facilities, athletic facilities in Mandeville, especially for football. I think this is a year where Mandeville can really make a lot of noise. Especially, I think this is a wide open Division I nonsense. I know we said Ruston's a team to beat. I know we said they're kind of the big scary bad wolf, or the big scary bearcat in the sense. But Russ is also a team where the last 2 years they were probably by far the best team in Division I non-select, and they've lost both times in the championship. So anything is possible. Because I think if you look at this, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 teams. I think any of these 11 teams could literally win the state championship. I'm not even joking.
I agree.
That's a very deep division, a lot of talent, a lot of great coaches. I think anything can happen. Yes, me and Jace both picked Ruston to win it all, but it may not have the chaos of Division II non-select has, but anything can happen.
Yeah, it's wide open for that second team. I mean, I think right now Ruston's a tier above, and those are two good additions, by the way, with Barb and Mandeville. Barb with the run they had last year, and Mandeville in the runs they had in the past. So those are two great additions. But really, it could be any team. You mentioned it. That could be in the dome. So that's gonna be interesting. And you never know how the season goes. Injuries. And just other stuff too. So, but yeah, it's going to be very interesting to follow to see who is going to be that team that will challenge Ruston. I think you have a lot of really great teams below them, but who's going to stand out from the pack is what I'm intrigued by in Division I non-select.
Yeah. Yeah, that's gonna be very interesting, man. I think all these divisions are interesting. Can't wait to get to select to break that down. But of course, we don't have a lot of time. Otherwise, it would be a 3-hour show.
Oh yeah,
because me and Jace do love to talk. But yeah, man. So yeah, it's just. I think it's a very interesting division. I think a lot of fireworks, and the season starts in about 2 weeks. We got scrimmages this week. We got jamborees next week. And, of course, first game will be on Thursday. I believe that will be September 3rd.
Yes.
That's Thursday because, of course, Friday is when most of the April plays, and Saturday, me and Jace are going to be at Tiger Stadium for Clemson. Of course, we're covering the LSU game, of course. Me for Tiger Bait, you for Crystal City Sports. Or not Crystal City Sports. Gridiron football. Yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah. Anything else you want to say?
No, man. Division. Really, we're talking about non-select and select. It's going to be fun. Anytime you have football in the air, it's fun to do these shows preseason and kind of get our thoughts what we think about all these teams, all these brackets. Especially this is the year where the classes change. So this is like the reclassification year, and see what teams have moved up, moved down, and kind of compare over the last couple of years, new challenges. So it's going to be intriguing to watch. We talk about the season, and I'm also very intrigued to see what this looks like and go back around December time, the week after the state championship games are played, and go back and see how smart or how dumb we look at the beginning of the season before it all wraps up. But appreciate you having me on. It's going to be another fun season. Great to have you back, Grant, in the boot, covering high school football, cover Louisiana football where you belong. So it's going to be a fun season, that's for sure.
It's also going to be a really weird season for me because, Jace, I think I've told you this, but my dad's the defensive coordinator at Holy Cross now.
Okay.
So
yeah, that's right.
Not going to be covering much Holy Cross, of course, for ethical reasons. But we will discuss the Holy Cross Jesuit game and the Holy Cross Chalmette game. Is a big time. Of course, Jesuit and Holy Cross is one of the most historic rivalries in the state, let alone New Orleans. Of course, Chalmette and Holy Cross, very underrated rivalry in the state as well. A lot of tradition. I will break that down when the season gets started. But, Jace, really excited to be back in the state of Louisiana covering high school football. Should be a very fun season, and can't wait to start season 2.15 Friday nights in the Bayou, I guess you could say. But, yeah, man, glad to be back in the Bay. And we'll also have the select. We'll also break down the select divisions, Division 1 through 4, sometime later this week. We just got to fit around their schedules because, of course, we also cover LSU, and we got other stuff going around. I mean, I'm covering scrimmages for high school football and filming stuff, and you're doing stuff for gridiron football, which is busy all the time during football season. So we're going to get it out this weekend. Of course, thank you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll make sure we'll post twice weekly. It might be just me. Sometimes we'll like to have Jace on as much as possible. I said this, when we did the show in the past. Sometimes Jace will be. A lot of times Jace will be on, but sometimes he's got other stuff he's got to do. And if not, I'll go solo, or we're gonna have a special guest on. And and we're gonna have a lot of guests on. I'm gonna plan on having coaches and players and whatnot as the season gets along. Right now, we're doing preview stuff and want to get the show back and running. But we're gonna have coaches on. We're gonna have players on. Of course, just gonna fit around the schedule. We're gonna make sure we're gonna have a blast this year. And Jace, glad to be back. And I'm very extremely grateful that we get to cover the high school sports scene in the city of Louisiana. Ain't nothing better. And of course, the road to the dome starts now. See you guys later.